I think this is going to be another close fight. But, who knows? Not every fight is going to be close. I could say that a lot, but obviously every fight in the UFC isn't going to be a close one. There is going to be 1 round, 2 round, third round knockouts. This fight, I think, has the chance to be one or the other. Either it's going to be close or one guy's just going to pop off and absolutely have a great night. Woo! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. And today we actually have some news to give you all. We finally have a new fight confirmed. It's going to be in May. Henry Cejudo and Aljamain fucking Sterling, baby. That is right. Aljamain Sterling is defending his title again, and Henry Cejudo is coming out of retirement to take his title back, baby. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great fight overall. You have two really good grapplers in general. You have Henry Cejudo, who is gold medaled at the fucking Olympics. And then you have on the other side of things, Aljamain Sterling, who's an absolutely phenomenal BJJ practitioner. Now, looking at both of these guys, you obviously have Henry Cejudo coming off a 3-year break. That's a very long time to come off of fighting, basically as long as John Jones has been taken off. The one thing that I do think plays in the factor here, though, for Henry Cejudo during this kind of 3-year break is he's been, pretty active, in my opinion. He's been in people's corners at UFC events. It's not like he's been out of the game completely. It's not like there's something that he's going to be missing that Aljamain Sterling is going to know about, that he's going to be like, oh shit, I should have been practicing that leading up to this fight night. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that Henry Cejudo has been around the game still. He's still on technically a 6-fight win streak. He left on the top. He left with 2 belts. And honestly, I think that he could come back and take this belt from Aljo. That's nothing to take away from Aljamain Sterling, though. I think Aljamain Sterling has looked phenomenal in his past fights. Not only did he just beat TJ Dillashaw, even though TJ Dillashaw kind of had, an injury in his shoulder and didn't really seem like he put up much of a fight after that first shoulder pop. But I do think that the wins over Peter Yan, I think that one is really big for me. Not only did Peter Yan have the belt beforehand, but there was obviously the controversial win when Aljamain Sterling got kneed when he was kind of down, and that made him get disqualified. So now we've got Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan again, and Aljamain Sterling looks really good in the second one. In my opinion, I had Peter Yan winning their first go. I had Peter Yan winning it all the way up till he made that mistake and made that knee on the down opponent. And that's where obviously Aljamain Sterling is going to win. It's just an illegal kick. And in my opinion, in the second one, Aljamain Sterling completely wiped the floor with him. I don't know what happened to Peter Yan, but Aljamain Sterling showed the fuck up. So hats off to Aljamain Sterling for showing up. Now, I said that, if you're looking at paper, if you're looking at past fights, both of these guys have wins over TJ Dillashaw. But when Henry Cejudo, if you guys remember, when Henry Cejudo fought TJ Dillashaw, it was actually when and during that fight that TJ got caught for using EPO, and that's what got him suspended. He said the reasoning for using that was to get cut down that weight because it was a really big weight cut, and he was already having to cut so much weight for his regular division. Maybe he was dehydrated. Maybe it just wasn't his night. He was really looking just not like himself in that Henry Cejudo TJ Dillashaw fight. So, maybe you could say that the TJ Dillashaw fight is, that's not the biggest one to lean on, but I do think a really big one to lean on is Marlon Moraes. He has fought both of these guys, and he has won against one and lost against one. Marlon Moraes has beat Aljamain Sterling in 2017, and then he has lost to Henry Cejudo in 2019. When he was not as good, he went and faced Aljamain Sterling. And then when he got even better in 2 years, because usually you get better as a fighter as you get older, obviously up until a certain point, and then there's the peak, and then you first start going on the downhill. But either way, 2 years later, he faces Henry Cejudo, and boom, Henry Cejudo gets the win. So that alone, to me, really just puts Henry Cejudo a little bit above Aljamain Sterling going into this fight. Not to mention he was on a 6-fight win streak on his way out. Now, let me just go through some of these names just so you guys can actually hear the type of opponents that he's had. Dominic Cruz, ex-UFC champ. Marlon Moraes, TJ Dillashaw, former champ. Demetrius Johnson, former champ, also known as the GOAT in some aspects. Anthony Pettis, former champ. Either way, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 past fights he's had have been against absolute killers in this division. And granted, this was a little bit ago. He's had that 3-year break, but I think that the way that he was going, the way that he was training, he was ahead of everybody else. So if anything, that Aljamain Sterling was playing catch up at this point in the past 3 years when it comes to just skill level, when it comes to just physical abilities and what things you have in your tool belt. I think that Henry Cejudo is leaps and bounds still ahead of Aljamain Sterling. And, I'm not saying I don't like Aljamain Sterling. I think Aljamain Sterling has a great chance. I think that he can easily catch Henry Cejudo in a BJJ choke or something like that. Honestly, in my opinion, there's something about Olympic gold medalists that just have a different mindset. Their mindset is what it's all about, and they push themselves to brinks of breaking their body, in my opinion. And, if Henry Cejudo still has that, if Henry Cejudo is going to bring that to the table, I think we all better watch the fuck out. You cannot look over the Demetrius Johnson fights. Demetrius Johnson has been, or Mighty Mouse, for those of you that don't know or have heard of the name, he's known as one of the GOATs in this division. Now, not only has he fought Demetrius Johnson, or AKA Mighty Mouse, once, he's fought him twice. And just that alone, I think, goes for a lot of experience in the cage, no matter who you are going up against Demetrius Johnson. The dude is just good. Now, the first time he faced him, I can't lie, it was, a pretty quick one. It was a round 1 KO. And Henry Cejudo didn't have much of an answer for Demetrius Johnson. Now, in my opinion, I do think, you're going up against the guy with the belt for the first time. You have a little bit of nerves. Who knows what could have happened, especially for it to be a first round KO. I don't think Henry Cejudo has really had a performance like that in the UFC other than that one. He only has 2 losses in the UFC, and that's one of them. The other loss he has in the UFC is against Joseph Benavidez, which, again, absolute legend in the sport. He's had a really good UFC career, and honestly, I just think that really only with 2 losses in the UFC that, were against legends in the sport, Henry Cejudo is going to bring it against Aljamain Sterling. Now, I switch back over to the other side of things. Aljamain Sterling is also on a 8-fight win streak. And that 8-fight win streak, there's no 3-year break with, coming back and fighting again. He has constantly been fighting. He's been hot. He's been rolling through guys. I honestly think that he's got a chance to beat Henry Cejudo. I don't think it's completely one-sided, like Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski, and people thought it was so one-sided with Islam. It's not like that at all. I think this is going to be another close fight, but, who knows? Not every fight is going to be close. I could say that a lot, but obviously every fight in the UFC isn't going to be a close one. There is going to be 1-round, 2-round, 3rd-round knockouts. This fight, I think, has the chance to be one or the other. Either it's going to be close or one guy's just going to pop off and absolutely have a great night. Who knows who it's going to be? But I think it's just so far out to look right now, especially, we haven't really seen much of Henry Cejudo moving or in camp or in training. But either way, I do think that, Aljamain Sterling being on this fresh 8-fight win streak is something to talk about. I think it's a little impressive that he's on this 8-fight win streak. Could make it 9 if he beats Henry Cejudo. And, just he's had a lot more of the fresher guys. Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw, Corey Sandhagen, which I think is a really important one to look at. That Corey Sandhagen one, the reason I kind of pointed that one out was because, he got a first-round knockout there, which I think is, it's not easy to get a first-round knockout, number one. To get a first-round knockout, you have to go out there and have a plan and execute that plan perfectly, basically, if you're planning to get a first-round knockout, or you just have to have things go your way. So whether it was one or the other, I think that Aljamain Sterling having that first-round knockout against a guy like Corey Sandhagen's no joke, especially in this division. And he's that number 1, number 2 guy right now, maybe number 3 or 4 by this point. But that's one guy that, Henry Cejudo hasn't really gotten to face. And that's somewhere where Aljamain Sterling can kind of diversify his game and get his game better because of that win. I think this fight can only be and give good things for the UFC fans. So I'm really excited to watch this fight in May. We're going to have that summertime vibe. It's going to be a good fucking weekend when that comes around. So shout out to that weekend. But we've also got this weekend coming up with Gordon Ryan and Felipe Pena. It's going to be a good grappling match, ladies and gentlemen. It's a no time limit ultimate jiu-jitsu bout where they're going to go at it until somebody gets subbed. We're going to be going live for that as well as the UFC fight night this Saturday. So tune in onto this channel on Saturday night around 7 o'clock p.m., 8 o'clock p.m. We will be live, ladies and gentlemen. But that is going to be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in. We've got also next weekend, John Jones versus Cyril Gane. We're going to be doing a watch party for that. All content's going to be coming out next week on that, so tune in for that. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, comment, subscribe button, and have a great fucking day.